The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome into the Pod at the Palace. It's late Sunday night as I record here, about 10:30 in the evening. Oh, man. I made the mistake of waiting until the St. Louis Blues game wrapped up. Now, it probably doesn't mean much to any of you guys, but when you live in St. Louis for 12 years and you spend your summers there as a kid growing up, it's impossible to not adopt hockey, believe it or not, and become invested in that just like you do the Razorbacks. Man, but like hockey, NHL live is it's hard to beat in terms of watch value. Playoff hockey is super, super intense. But anyway, you know, the Blues are my team. They just lost in the playoffs in the most Arkansas fashion imaginable. I mean, my goodness. Game 7 on the road against the number 1 seed. You know, they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. The Blues, they did. Pushed it to game 7, controlled the game for 58 to 60 minutes in regulation, and then just proceeded to blow a 2-goal lead with 2 minutes left, allow the game to get tied with overtime force with a goal with 1.6 seconds left to play, battled back, you know, killed some penalties, and then proceeded to lose in double overtime. See you next year. It was fun while it lasted. Gosh, man. We all have these moments in life, I think, where we wonder why we made the choices we did when it comes to fandom. But I guess if there is, you know, solace to be taken away from just watching the hockey version of that Sweet 16 collapse that we all saw a month ago, it's that this kind of stuff is certainly not confined to Arkansas, even if it feels like it sometimes, right? Man, oh man, wild stuff there. Oh well. You take the good and the bad. Thank God for DVH and the boys, at least. I mean, you guys still buzzing from sweeping Texas right out of Baum-Walker Stadium all weekend? That was awesome, man. How cool is that? Really fun stuff. And it was pretty cool to see Arkansas basketball well represented throughout the course of the weekend out there in the stands, wasn't it? I mean, DJ Wagner out there interacting with folks. The night I was out there, Thursday, I guess it would have been. That was cool. Taking pictures, roaming around the concourse. Man of the hour out there. Shout out to him for celebrating a 20th birthday over the weekend. See you out there, young man. Saturday we had Anthony Black in the house, and that's really, really cool. I mean, does that not make you feel good as a Razorback fan? Just to see your most recent lottery pick. I mean, he just finished up his first playoff run, you know, with Orlando. And he's just back chilling in Fayetteville, checking out a game. Really? I mean, this man's a millionaire. He's from Duncanville, Texas. You know, like he's not a local guy. His college coach he's out in LA now. None of his buddies are still on the team, really. So like it's not even basketball season. Looks like he came to Bud to check a game. No. There he is chilling at a Razorback baseball game, munching on some concession stand food. That was really, really cool. I think he was out on Dixon too before the game. I think John said he saw him out at JJ's. That's awesome. That really makes you feel good. And John Calipari was out there as well on Saturday. So that's good stuff. You put every bit of that in the things you love to see category, right? But other than that, I mean, honestly, it was kind of a quiet weekend on the college basketball front. Although we talked about it now. That's going to change. It's going to pick up here pretty quickly in the next several days with the combine looming. But we do have a few things to get to today. We want to show a lot of love to a particular incoming Razorback freshman, a little bit more combine news, and we'll just kind of take it from there. But I think the best way to get started here is with our HD Roofing and Construction heavy hitters, right? And, you know, I had HD out to my place on Thursday before the game for a free inspection. I told you guys about it, but I just came away super impressed with their professionalism, their customer service. Those guys are thorough. They're detailed, tons of pictures and information. They weren't trying to push me on anything I didn't need. They weren't lying to me about the way my roof looked. And they were very flexible to my schedule. They know I record right here in my house. They wouldn't be stomping around up on my roof while I've got stuff going on while we're live streaming Inside Arkansas Live. So shout out to Garrett. He was awesome. Really appreciate him. Give me that peace of mind I needed because it's been wild out here. So if you're looking for the same after the last, several weeks of storms and hail and heavy rain and winds, get yourself scheduled and set up for an inspection of your own. Check them out at hdarkansas.com. But today's heavy hitter, I mean, it's got to be soon to be Razorback freshman guard Darius Acuff, right? I mean, he had himself one hell of a weekend just to put like the official bow on his high school career. Because for the better part of a month now, a little over a month, it's been showcase season, right? Like the games that count, they've been over with, but just, the guys who have earned these big time accolades and the opportunity to participate in these, special events. These are the guys who have been doing it at a high level for their entire career. It's kind of the ultimate conclusion of all the work that you put in before you go to college. And it's very cool. And Acuff is a guy who's been invited and been able to participate in every single one of these things, all of them. And we were just talking about Anthony Black. Like, he's one of the last guys I can remember who's been able to take part in all these things. McDonald's All-American game, check. Nike Hoop Summit, check. Jordan Brand Classic, check. Iverson Classic, check. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And he's really, really ending on a high note. We mentioned on Saturday with Acuff how he'd been showing out at, the practices and the workouts at the Iverson Classic, rubbing elbows with AI himself, who, he's looked up to, he's modeled his game after. And it looks like, AI, I mean, that's my wheelhouse of growing up. We're about the same age, it feels like. But Iverson, man, he might be a mentor, honestly, with the way that he was talking to Acuff there and, chatting him up and giving him advice, words of wisdom. That's a good guy to have in your corner, don't you think? But it's been impressive, man, for Acuff, and he really kept it rolling throughout the course of the weekend. Wound up absolutely crushing it in the Iverson Classic game itself. And, it just, you need to go check out the highlights. I'd play them, but they'd rip it from our video and demonetize us. I tried to do that recently, and they pulled it out from under us. And, everybody was in the comments like, whoa, where'd this go? I was just trying to play, the little hype video that Arkansas basketball put out about the guys returning, and YouTube scrapped it. Everybody's in the comments like, hey, you said you were going to play this. Where is it? Wasn't me, but that's where we're at. But man, it was impressive stuff. It really was. And, and here's the deal, because I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, right? Just because he dominated in this particular event doesn't mean we're going to switch up our energy too much. It's a showcase game. It's an exhibition. I get it. Defense optional. Yep, of course. But doesn't it feel really good just to see one of your own steal the show in one of these events? Because Arkansas's had their run of, McDonald's All-Americans and, guys that have played in some of these events. And for the most part, they haven't really done a whole lot, with those opportunities that they had. But that really hasn't been the case with Acuff and Thomas, especially here recently. And Acuff was absolutely hooping. He went crazy out there. Finished with a game-high 32 points on 14 to 23 shooting. Now, he's getting them up. I mean, we've talked about, Darius Acuff ain't ever met a shot he doesn't like. And with the way that man has the ball in his hands, he's going to get his attempts up there. But that's pretty darn efficient for a high volume. So a game-high 32 is 14 to 23 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3. So, back-to-back games there where he shot well from 3 in these opportunities, and just getting downhill and getting to the rim like crazy. They had nothing for him. And then to go along with that, he had 11 assists in this game. So 32 points, 11 assists in 27 minutes of action. And he wasn't doing it against scrubs. I mean, he was out there against the likes of Jasper Johnson, who's going to Kentucky. He'll see him next year. Kingston Flemings, who is going to where did he sign? Houston? But he's the guy that on 3 ranked above him in the point guard rankings. Kyan Anthony, Melo's kid. I mean, there's some good guards out there that Darius has matched up with. He was giving him the business the entire time. So Acuff wraps the week here with he wound up winning Iverson High School Player of the Year honors, big time. So for everything he's done his senior season, he was the one-on-one champion. They did the King of the Court tournament during those practice sessions, and nobody had anything for him. That doesn't surprise me. He's a very, very gifted ISO player. Then he wins the Iverson game MVP, as you should, if you go for 32 and 11. Oh, and he inks the multi-year shoe deal with Reebok. So I guess what I'm saying here is he probably did just enough for the weekend for On3 to drop him out of the top 50 in their next rankings update, right? I mean, I'm gonna be salty about that until I hit my grave. It's just ridiculous to me. And some people have asked about how is that going to work. I mean, Arkansas's a Nike school, and he signs a Reebok deal. It's going to be the same way as some of these other guys who've done similar things. You know, Cooper Flagg had the New Balance deal. Duke's obviously not a New Balance school, but for the most part, he's going to promote Reebok. He'll do spots for him, you know, commercials for him, hits for him, everything like that. In games, he'll probably wear Nikes, right, with the Razorbacks. So that's how I'd expect that to work. But very cool. I should have pulled the shoe. Did you guys see the shoe that he was rocking? I'll bring that up for tomorrow's episode. I meant to grab that, but I didn't before I started recording, so it's a little bit too late now. But some pretty good stuff there. But good on Darius. And I got to tell you, he just, man, if you watch him, he puts so much pressure on a defense with his ability. He can get 2 feet in the paint whenever he wants. Really has the ball on a string. Good feel for the game too, with it in his hands. I mean, he reads those ball screens well, understands his defenders, got a good feel for where his teammates are. Man, he's advanced from that standpoint. And if you think about him with, you know, the rest of the guys that Arkansas has, DJ coming back, Carter, you believe is going to come back, Billy. I mean, you just constantly have to guard the Razorbacks because they will get downhill on you. I mean, it's going to be absolutely relentless. Now, if you just space the floor just well enough, this team is going to be a nightmare to guard off the bounce, in transition. They're going to put a lot of pressure on that rim. And we're not even talking about the forwards. So I'm excited about this group. I really am. And what I'll say about Darius too, and as I mentioned, he shot it. I think we watched the McDonald's game and the one after that, and, wasn't super efficient from three, and, not so much his senior year. So but he shot it better from three in the Hoop Summit and the Iverson game here recently. I'm really anxious to see what he becomes as a perimeter shooting threat, I think is what I'm getting at here. And because he's going to take them. He is, and he should. And he's going to make them. And he's probably going to be streaky from out there, as we've kind of seen. As I don't know how many people tune into the Scholastic League and got to watch, IMG games against whoever, and, like really, really dive into the film there. But you've been seeing him in these showcase games and everything. So he's going to put him up there. He's probably going to be streaky. But, he struggled from beyond the arc as a high school senior. But there is, guys, a track record there previously that's encouraging. And, we put out our satisfaction scale yesterday, right? And shooting was one of them. It was like, no, I'm not satisfied with it. They haven't added a made three in college from anybody yet. But, I mentioned Malik Thomas, and, I think he's the better of the two when it comes to shooting. And I think he's going to help him there. Acuff's going to be taking him too, but I think you got to wonder, is he going to be closer to a DJ Wagner type of threat from three, or better than that? I think there's room, certainly, for him to be an improved version of that. I do. So during the 2023-24 year as a junior, Acuff shot 36% on 7.5 attempts per game on the EYBL. So against the best of the best over the course of the summer. And he followed it up 36.3% on just under 7 attempts per game in the Scholastic League. And that's all the big dogs, IMG, Montverde, Link Academy, all those teams, right? It's against the top competition in the country. So he's got a large sample size of above average 3-point shooting on high volume. It's there. It dipped over the course of the past year. So it's not like he's been a historically poor shooter. You just got to refine it. And maybe some things have changed. He's probably been on ball more, focusing on being a lead guard more. More attention paid to him from defenders. So adjustments to be made there, but he's got it in him to be a, above average 3-point shooter at Arkansas next season. He absolutely does. And if he's able to, to add that to his game with some form of consistency, one, it's going to raise Arkansas' ceiling. It's going to help him a lot. But it's also going to make things a lot easier on him. I mean, how much do we talk about with, DJ and some of these other guys, like, hey, you don't have to be lights out. You just got to be good enough to where they respect you, to where they can't sag off of you and give you cushion because you're such a good driver, to where they can't afford to go under all the ball screens on you without you making them pay. So if he's got that in his bag, he's going to be tough, because I think with him, with Acuff, by the time the season rolls around, I mean, he's going to be playing at 185 plus, probably, from a weight standpoint. He's listed at 6'1". I think he measured 6'1" barefoot. So he might be 6'2" on the roster, whatever. But he does have a plus wingspan. He's got about a 6'6" wingspan. So physically, he's I think going to be there for a freshman. He's got the length too, despite being a little bit shorter by SEC guard standards. So going to be a big summer for him. You need him to get a little bit more serious on the defensive end. Obviously, that's the case with a lot of freshmen. He's going to be one of them. And, work on the subtle things, not over dribbling out there, but he's going to be really, really good for Arkansas. And I don't think we've talked about him enough. And if he can even be a serviceable shooting threat, it's going to go a long way for this team when we look at these projections and, way too early top 10s. And, can this team be are they really a Final Four contender on paper? A lot of that hinges on what you think about a guy like Acuff, as a true freshman. So looking forward to him. I wanted to spend a good amount of time just talking about him and his potential, the weekend that he's had, and what he brings to the table. I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about him a ton, over the course of the summer here, but an exciting talent who getting a lot of love here over the course of the last few days, and he deserves it. And it feels good to see it if you're a Razorback fan, for sure. I guess the Pot at the Palace is also brought to you by Basis Health, who's changing the way that healthcare is provided by delivering it to you personally. They give you those mobile medical visits right at the comfort of your own home. If you don't have time to get out to the doctor, if you don't have time to make those appointments, sit in the waiting room, they'll come to you straight to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and more. Basis Health, they're here for you when and where you need them the most. Learn more at basishealth.org today. Shifting gears just a little bit. And, we went through the NBA draft stuff the other day, right? May 11th through 18th in Chicago. All our eyes are going to be on it. I was actually talking about this in the Discord. I'm legitimately thinking about, if the timing works out and everything, like Inside Arkansas Live is not going on. We might do some watch party action during the scrimmages, not during the testing. That'd be weird. But during the scrimmages, like when Carter's out there playing, especially if him and Jameer Watkins are on the floor at the same time, why not? Let's go live. Let's watch it together. Let's talk about it. See what we're seeing out there. I think that could be a lot of fun. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. I think it could be cool. Some people on the Discord thought it would be. So we're tentatively planning on doing that. But it's a big deal, for Arkansas fans who are looking to put this roster back over the top and finalize some things here before the kids move back in. So we might be doing that. But that's the NBA draft combine. 3 days before that, it's reserved for the G League combine, which is literally the exact same thing for the next wave or the next tier of draft eligible prospects, right? So 75 players got the invite to the NBA draft combine, and another 44 got G League combine invites. And what's cool about that, the top performers from the G League combine will get a call up to the NBA draft combine, which starts right after that. And they really get a chance to showcase themselves to teams, up their stock and everything like that. And there's not a set number either. So, I remember one year, I think they called up 5 guys. Another year, I remember they called up 8. Basically, if you make enough of an impression on the evaluators and scouts and everything there, they'll call your butt up and let you go in there and work and compete with the NBA guys. So I was really, really happy to see that Nelly Davis was on that list. So he did get an invite to the G League combine. That's cool, man. And, I would put him in the sleeper category for a potential call up here. Because Nelly, if you think about his season, like his raw numbers are not going to impress you. But we as Razorback fans know the real story, don't we? I mean, the wrist injury, and then he had the setback right before SEC play. Not really finding his role. He was stuck in the corner, and then he found some freedom and he got comfortable. Just such a major, major night and day difference from like November, December Nelly compared to February, March Nelly. Hell, he finished with a crisp 30 piece in the Sweet 16 against Texas Tech. So he was really, really playing some great basketball. at the end of the season, and he's carried that over. So balled out at the Portsmouth Invitational, and which is it's a big time event for guys in his exact same situation. And now he gets his opportunity in the G League Combine. So, will he be able to play his way into, like a late second round pick or something through this? Probably not, if we're being fair. Okay. But this is where you can really, really, make waves for yourself, get on the radar for the undrafted free agent stuff, whether it's 2-way deals, Exhibit 10 contracts. That's how Stanley Amude started his road. And look at him now. Stan played in the Portsmouth Invitational, the pit, after the season, and, wound up getting an Exhibit 10 contract with the Pistons, and the rest is history. He's in a really good spot now, and Nelly could put himself in that type of position. You get on with a team, and they take a flyer on you, you go show out at Summer League, and you start the grind. And so really wish him all the luck in the world. He's a good kid, and I was really happy with the way it ended for him at Arkansas, given the way that it started. It was tough. It was unfortunate. He caught a lot of flack, some of it warranted, some of it out of his control. But the way he played down the stretch for Arkansas was huge for him. And being able to lead the Razorbacks back to a second weekend and have the performances that he did, he's going to be remembered fondly at Arkansas, as he should. And I hope his career continues to take off. So, and with the G League Combine invite there, like there's some familiar names and some good players on that list. Wade Taylor, Texas A&M. Yeah, that's right. He's finally done with college. He's going to be participating. Will Richard from Florida. Igor Milicic, the stretch four from Tennessee. Jalen Lowe, who is currently signed to play at Kentucky next year. The point guard from Pitt. Razorback legend Jaron Pierre. He got the invite there. Amari Williams from Kentucky. Caleb Grill, the shooter from Missouri. Dylan Cardwell from Auburn. But have not seen Jonas Aidoo receive an invite just yet. A little surprised by that, and I hope it changes. And some players on this list for the G League Combine, they'll turn it down and just go back to school. Nelly Davis actually did that last year. Got the invite to the G League Combine, turned it down. He was already committed to Arkansas. I was like, whatever, I'm going to school. So there's that part of it. And if that happens, maybe Jonas then can get a shot with the next set of invites, if that's the case. He's got to be close on the list. Hell, if Dylan Cardwell is getting an invite, so should Jonas. I mean, no disrespect, but Jonas, he's just a better basketball player. I know he dealt with the injury and everything this year, but if you watched Jonas from, the last, 2 weeks of the regular season throughout the SEC and NCAA tournament, he looked the part, man. So I hope he gets that opportunity there. Jonas, to me, I mean, he's too good to be, starting his career in Europe. I think he's earned the right to get a look. But hell, if he does, he's going to make a crap load of money in the process. Either way, he's going to be all right there, but I hope to see him. I really do. What else? Just a couple tidbits of news and notes. I saw Eric Musselman got himself another guard. Shocker. It's like his 13th transfer or whatever, some 5'10" guard from Asheville or somewhere. Did you guys see Travis Perry committed to Ole Miss? So good on him for sticking in the SEC. Arkansas kicked the tires there. They contacted him. I don't think they were ever seriously pursuing him. But he had that list, and I think there were more, SEC and power conference suitors on there than I really anticipated. Thought he might wind up at like a Western Kentucky or somewhere that contacted him initially. My thought process was, go down to mid-major, play your tail off, and then play your way back to a high major, like after you prove it kind of deal. But no, he had some SEC schools on him hard. In fact, I was kind of under the impression that he might actually wind up at Vanderbilt, because I know Chris Beard spoke really highly of him. He actually recruited him hard out of high school, so they were always kind of in the mix, but it seemed like Vanderbilt might have been the leader for a minute there. He winds up going to Ole Miss instead. I mean, Chris Beard goes from PJ Haggerty to Kentucky's third string point guard. It's kind of weird how that happened, but I hope Travis Perry does well there. I do. And speaking of PJ, it sounds like he might wind up with Will Wade, the American gangster over at NC State. I'm telling you, he's going to have those dudes. He's going to have them rolling quick. I was chatting with some folks, and I kind of have the feeling that he's going to put a lot of pressure on other folks in the triangle over there. Like John Shire and Duke, they are what they are, but there's a chance that NC State in year one under Will Wade will be better than North Carolina. I'm telling you right now, people in Chapel Hill ain't gonna like that. He's done a nice job putting that team together so far. If he does wind up closing on PJ Haggerty, man, it's an All-American type guard for you. And he just grabbed one of the international players that we talked about last week in Big Paul Mbia. 7-footer from the NBA Africa Academy. It's been playing in France and just really having a breakout season. Older kid. I would have loved for Arkansas to have been on him, but he's going to have better opportunity at NC State. He might start for him at center, but it's a big body, big time pickup for them. So he's doing some work out there. What else before we get out of here? Oh, God, man, I can't believe how this is taking off. Florida's not offering Boogie Fland $7 million to play basketball next season in college. That's outrageous. That would make Boogie Fland like nearly double the highest paid player in NIL in college basketball history. And Boogie Fland's he's a very good basketball, very good. Underrated, undervalued. He always will be for what he did at Arkansas, but he ain't that good. I'm sorry. He's not getting that. And he's damn sure not getting it from Florida. I mean, if you think about Florida's situation, I know they're trying to rebuild from losing their backcourt from that championship team, but they just lost Denzel Aberdeen, who was a major contributor to their national championship team that was, kind of slated to be the next man up to step in. He transferred. He's at Kentucky now. And the reason he left and went to another school in the SEC is because they were just trying to up his NIL to $1 million. A dude who was on your national championship roster as your sixth man. And you couldn't give him more than $1 million and keep him out of Kentucky in your own league. But we think that they're going to give Boogie $6-7 million. That's ludicrous. It's not happening. It's just not. I'm not saying that that there's not a world where, Boogie doesn't like his draft stock and he, hops back and he's in the portal and he winds up at Florida. I mean, they'd probably be one of the suitors there strongly or North Carolina. But they ain't gonna be paying him that much. That's wild. And if they did, boy, we would really have to reevaluate a lot of things, from an Arkansas standpoint. But yeah, I mean, it would completely reset the market. I mean, I'm being honest, like if Cooper Flagg came back to Duke, would he get $7 million to do it? I don't think he would. I'm not buying that one. But I still stand on what I said about Boogie, and what I've said about him a number of times. If him leaving after his freshman season, everything, I'm okay with it. I get it. We spent 15 minutes at the top of the show talking about Darius Acuff and the impact he's going to make for Arkansas. DJ's back, for his third year in the SEC. Malik Thomas, you guys know I'm really, really high on him. So I understand what that looks like in the backcourt for Arkansas. Boogie, as good as he is, and what he could add from a shooting standpoint, makes a hell of a lot less sense for Arkansas than some of the other potential additions they could make out of the portal. Bigger wings, guys who could play the four a little bit. So I'm not that upset about him leaving, but I don't want to see him at another college. I don't. I hope he hoops at the combine, solidify your first round status, or get yourself a promise or a guarantee that you like, and go to the draft. That's what I hope to see from Boogie. Now, if he does, wind up pulling out of the draft and going back to college, then I immediately shift to keep your butt out of the SEC, man. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him in another college uniform. He's a Razorback to me. So if I have to, like I said, I think North Carolina, it makes a lot of sense as a school that could really use another talented guard there. St. John's is kind of already filled up, and they were the quote unquote favorite when he did decide to test those portal waters. But go somewhere like that, man. Stay out of the SEC. If he's at Florida, it's just not going to feel right. And dang it, they'd be really good. I mean, if they wound up with a backcourt that had Boogie, Desmond Claude, Xavier Lee to go with, Chinyelu and Tommy Houck and potentially Condon and Hadden locked in back. I mean, they'd be looking at repeat status So miss me with that, man. I don't want to see Boogie at in the SEC for sure. But all right, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. I know we're a little bit all over the place. We're kind of light on news, but here we are at a half hour again. But man, when I get talking about some of these freshmen, I get excited. We'll start dedicating a little bit of time to him. But good on Darius for an awesome weekend there, representing the Razorbacks well before he even puts on the uniform. You love to see it. So, hey guys, get subscribed, or you need to get subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. Find us where you find your podcast, wherever you listen. The Pod at the Palace is there, whether it's Spotify, Apple, anywhere else. And check us out. We're going to be out at El Mezcal in Fayetteville on Center Street, celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Right. Cool place. Nothing I love more than some chips and cheese and a celebration. So we're going to be out there at noon today from noon to 1:30 for Inside Arkansas Live. We'll be hanging out for a little bit after that. So if you're off on Monday, come hang out with us. If you have a lunch break and you work in Fayetteville, come out and see us. Should be a good time. Maybe we'll see you out there. But hey, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. You guys have a good day. We'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.